What's up YouTube, Demi here with a quick little news post thing. There's been some new 3D arts and Beastiary League is not going core, so we're going to go ahead and read over that together. But the 3D art they've updated, it looks like the minion helmet's getting some 3D art. Mark of the Covenant, I think is what it's called. Mark of the Red Covenant. And then, also, really important thing, Anticipation and Surrender are finally getting 3D art. This thing, Breach came out in December of 2016, right? So it's been over... what, like a year and a half since it came out? And yeah, we're finally getting 3D art for one of the best looking items in that league. The Surrender is a max block shield, or not max block, a shield that's based on blocking. You get life on block, right? And it looks really, really cool. I'm glad they're finally giving it 3D art, and I'm glad they're hopefully giving us a bunch of other ones, because like, taking a year plus to get 3D art in for like league specific mechanics or items feels kind of bad. Just saying, like it's been way too long since this thing got an art, but I mean it finally has one, so that's cool. Alright, so we're going to also read about Bestiary as a core game mechanic. For those of you that don't know, leagues are temporary leagues specifically. They are like how GGG tests content to see whether or not it goes into the core game, i.e. standard, the league that never ends and just gets stuff added to it all the time, right? They're just testing content, so they do a temp league with this new mechanic, see if it goes over well. If it goes over horribly, such as Beastiary League did, it doesn't get to make it into the core game. So they have a very short post about this. Bestiary is a complicated league with many elements. It has special monsters, the ability to capture instead of kill, and a very involved crafting system with some powerful results. Sure, while the Bestiary League took a lot of effort to make, we spent a lot of time improving the league after its release. We've decided not to retain any element of the league in the core game for now. Variety of decisions fueled this decision, right? We would have to support the interface and the menagerie going forward. These are big additions in the game, would require constant changes and attention to work with any new features added to the game. Bestiary is very different to the core game, which means we need to keep all of the tutorial elements. We looked at the new player experience where we have to explain the core game, past league elements, and whatever currently is running. We didn't want to add Bestiary permanently into that mix. It's a lot to take in as a new player. This whole game is complex as fuck, right? The crafting results and inputs would need constant balancing and iterations to remain relevant. The leveling item crafting is already handled by another simpler crafting methods. The more complex and high value crafting was used by some players, but it uses design space we think we could serve better with other mechanics in the future. Sorry, I can't read right now. I'm not sure what's going on. As well as not retaining any elements of the league in the core game, you will likely not see Bestiary as a Xana option in the future. However, there may be some parts of Bestiary we will use in future content, and it is possible we would bring Bestiary back for short-term events. So that's basically what they said with the Legacy League as well. They're not going to use it anytime soon, but they might in the future. It's just like an open-ended statement, so they can bring it back later on if they want. But most likely it will not ever be useful. Bestiary orbs and their imprints will still exist, but won't have any function, same as League Stones from Legacy League. We won't be making any balance changes to the Bestiary unique items in the near future. So nothing goes Legacy, that's what that means. None of these are going to go Legacy, so I would recommend hoarding on, if you want to invest into Bestiary specific uniques for standard to make currency there. Grab a bunch of those because they're going to go pretty high up in price, especially if it takes a long time for the league to come back a simple Xana mechanic minimally, right? So those are going to be good money. Any of the crab set, spider set, whatever, all those sets, bring those into standard, right? We learned a lot from the development of Bestiary, and we're really looking forward to showing off our next entirely different league after this week. Okay. So next week we get the next 3.3 development manifesto, which is like hopefully what it's going to tell us about the next league, what's in it, what to be hyped about, whatever. It'll be cool. Yeah, other minor stuff. There's a 50-point sale with like 100-something microtransactions if you want to go grab stuff. But other than that, I think we've gone over all the stuff. What this means for me is good, because I don't want to spend 500 hours getting 3 white sockets on all of my mirror items, because fuck that. That was the main issue I was going to have, is that basically if 3 white sockets goes core, every single mirror item in standard would like to have 3 white sockets. That being said, I feel like this league was a very huge step out of their comfort zone, out of GGG's comfort zone, and it just wasn't fleshed out enough. If they had spent a couple weeks maybe testing it, maybe some alpha testing going on, whatever, maybe some streamers tested it for them, I don't know. Any way they could have gotten out some players into the league before they released it live. Like, the main issue we had is that a lot of stuff just wasn't tested. Like, the way that nets felt like ass. That was the core mechanic of the game. Throwing nets felt terrible. You couldn't capture dead beasts. In the clear speed meta, we just one-shot everything, so everything was just dying. Yellow beasts didn't drop anything. Red beasts were impossible to kill. Still are. And it wasn't really a fun league to play. it was an interesting like crafting potential, right? But the way that they'd had it, you couldn't even choose what base to craft on to start out with. And I mean, we had Essence League like a year ago plus now that allowed you to target a specific mod on a specific item using a dropped League mechanic currency, right? And that was just like, that feels like the improvement to Bestiary League, even though it came a year before Bestiary League even came out. So it's just, I don't know, it felt really, really half-assed. Maybe it was rushed, I don't know. Maybe if they wanted it to be a core game mechanic, they should have just tested it and released it as a core game mechanic alongside another expansion, not as a solo league. But that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below this video. If you have any questions or comments, I mean, of course, leave them there. If you want to see me live playing PoE or whatever other game you want, you can follow my Twitch, always link in the description below. And if you want to support what I do, there's a Patreon link there as well. Thank you so much for any support, and I will see you guys in the next video. That'll be Demi out.